With the Timo Werner move to Chelsea finalized, a lot of attention has been put on the German goal scorer. This isn't the first time the spotlight has been put on Werner. Just 23 days after his 17th birthday, he made his first appearance for VfB Stuttgart and became the youngest player in the club's history. This is really saying something when you consider some of the names that have come through the Stuttgart Youth Academy over the years: Joshua Kimmich, Serge Gnabry, and Bernd Leno, just to name a few. For today's video, we'll be creating an all-time Stuttgart team using each player's peak stats that they've had between now and FIFA 12. For example, we have Mario Gomez, who at 33 years old is now 74 rated, but back in FIFA 13, he was 26, playing for Bayern Munich, and had an overall rating of 85. We'll be using that stat for this simulation. The main criteria that I considered when selecting players is that they had to have spent at least some time with the Stuttgart Youth Academy. They can still have played for other youth academies. Players like Gnabry eventually went on to Arsenal, but he did spend some time at the Youth Academy for Stuttgart, so he will be eligible. After going through some of the individual players, we will be running a simulation and seeing what this all-time Stuttgart squad can do in the Bundesliga. While Stuttgart are in the second Bundesliga IRL, we have swapped them with bottom of the table Paderborn, so we can make this experiment a little bit more interesting. Starting with our goalkeeper, we have the FIFA 17 version of Leno, who at the time was playing for Leverkusen and had a potential of 89. We should see that rating go up quite a bit over the next few seasons. I have decided to go with the 3 at the back formation because I feel like Stuttgart have quite a few talented center backs, but not too many high-rated fullbacks. Starting off with Rdiger, who unfortunately his career has consisted of a lot of injuries, but he did have a good amount of potential back in the day. FIFA 13, he was playing for Bayern Munich and had a potential of 85, so we'll see that rating go up a bit. And then we have Rdiger, who of course is still playing for Chelsea, made the move from Stuttgart to Roma and then over to Chelsea. And I've heard some news saying that he played a role in the Werner transfer. That is pretty cool if that was the case. But anyways, we are going to be using his card from FIFA 18. He has a potential of 86, so good to see there. And then finally, we have Kehrer. We're using his FIFA 19 card, and he has a potential of 87. Our midfield is definitely one of the strongest areas of our squad, and we have our oldest player in the starting 11, Sami Khedira, at 85 rated. Using his FIFA 19 Juventus card, we'll probably see his overall go down over the course of this simulation, but luckily we have some talented youngsters on the substitutes and reserves, so we can replace him easily. And then Joshua Kimmich, we're using his current FIFA 20 card, has a potential of 90, and he is going to be one of the highest overall players in this starting 11. This may be a surprise to some of you, but we are using Kolasinaic's FIFA 18 card just after he made the transfer to Arsenal. Don't necessarily know him as a left mid, but it was one of his secondary positions back then, and we'll absolutely take that. Had a potential of 84 as well. On the right flank, we have Gnabry, and ever since he made the transfer back to the Bundesliga a couple of years ago, his career has just continued to get better. It's crazy to see that he's only 23 years old, and the potential that he does have. He's going to have 87 potential in game, but I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple years he has an even higher overall rating. Didavi will feature at the center attacking mid position. He's currently playing for Stuttgart IRL, but we're using his FIFA 18 card when he was playing for Wolfsburg. Finally, we have our 2 strikers, and we'll begin with the man that inspired this video, Timo Werner, and his move to Chelsea. He's at 86 overall in career mode right now, and let me know in the comment section what you think his rating is going to be at the start of FIFA 21. I'm going to guess an 85. And then he'll get a couple of informs and a 1 to watch in Ultimate Team, and of course that rating will also go up in career mode. We already talked about Mario Gomez a little bit earlier, but when you import his stats from FIFA 13 into FIFA 20, he goes from an 87 overall back down to an 85, but he does have 88 potential, which is not bad at all. For the sake of time, I'm not going to talk about every single player, but I do want to highlight a few players in our substitutes and reserves that either have a high overall rating or a high amount of potential, starting with Vlachodimos, who made the transfer from the Stuttgart Youth Academy over to the Greek League, playing for Panathinaikos, and now he's featuring for Benfica. Has an 81 overall and 86 potential. Our next player is one that those of you that watch my FIFA 17 career mode with Stuttgart will probably remember, Baumgartel. Last year he had an overall of 76 and a potential of 81, and he was just a joy to use for my Stuttgart career mode. I'm hoping he can feature in a couple of matches for this simulation, but unfortunately he has made the move to PSV, so he no longer plays for Stuttgart. And kind of a fun fact here, both of the Khedira brothers both featured for the Stuttgart Youth Academy, and while Rani Khedira never quite reached the overall rating of his brother Sami, he is starting to peak in his career and peak in his overall rating, now up to a 76 overall and a 79 potential. Rudy received a nice boost to his overall when he made the transfer to Bayern back in FIFA 18, 81 overall, 82 potential. And I know a good percentage of you have played career mode for the last couple of FIFAs, and if you played career mode in FIFA 13, you might remember this guy, Alexander Merkel. Remember the name. Back then, he had a potential of 88 at just 20 years old. He is going to by far be, or what I predict will be, the highest overall growth in this simulation. It's just a matter of letting him grow a little bit in that first season, and I think from season 2 onwards, he's going to feature somewhere in our midfield. There are 2 more players that I want to highlight, both of which are goalkeepers, and the first one being Correos. This was just after he made the transfer to Liverpool back in FIFA 17, had an 82 overall and 87 potential, and I've actually heard some news that he is going to end his loan with Besiktas, and he'll be making the move back to Liverpool. I'm wondering what kind of role he's going to play for the Liverpool squad, whether he's going to back up Adrian or whether he's going to be transferred or sent out on loan. Be interesting to see how that plays out. And finally, we have Ulreich, who nowadays is backing up Neuer at Bayern, but back in FIFA 13, he was still at Stuttgart and had an 82 potential. So we definitely don't have a shortage of goalkeeper options. I think that's going to wrap up all the players I wanted to individually cover. Let's get into the simulation, see how we perform in the league and the Pokal, and find out which players can contribute goals. I'm not too surprised by how the first season of this simulation finished. Bayern and Dortmund competed for the title, and eventually it was Bayern who won it on goal differential. And then spots 3 through 5, those teams are pretty much interchangeable. Happy to finish third though, and we'll be playing in Champions League next season. And hopefully, as our player overall continues to go up, we can really start to compete for the Bundesliga title. Not a great outing from us in the Deutsche Pokal. We lost in the third round to Bayern, and the eventual winner was Borussia Dortmund, who defeated Mönchengladbach in the final. An even distribution of goals for our strikers, as both Gomez and Werner had 18 goals and 2 assists this season. Gnabry also with double digits. That's a tongue twister for you, with 14 goals and 11 assists. Kind of a surprise here with Gentner, 8 assists for him. And then the clean sheets category, I was concerned that we wouldn't have a really prominent starting goalkeeper, but Leno appeared in the most matches by far. I thought because we had other high overall keepers, the simulation would put them in as well, but I'm happy that Leno appeared in the majority of matches, and it looks like he had a fair amount of clean sheets. Here's a side-by-side look of the squad overall growth between the start of season 1 and the start of season 2. You can disregard the fitness because the Euros are going on in FIFA right now. A stellar outing from the squad in season 2 as we won the Bundesliga by a fair margin, 11 points ahead of Dortmund. To be fair, compared to last year, the other squads didn't quite play as well, but we'll absolutely take it. And I'm curious how we did in the Pokal. I know we reached the final, and we did win the final over FC Bayern 3-1. A very solid outing from us in the Champions League as we lost to Barcelona in the semifinal 1-0 on aggregate. Liverpool won the entire competition, beating Barcelona in the final 4-3. I think this Stuttgart squad is potentially one season out from winning the Champions League. So let's go over our season 2 statistics and simulate one more season. A huge reason for the improved performance has to go to Timo Werner, netting 33 goals this year. Although he did have another competition to play in the Champions League, only 4 of those goals did come from the Champions League. Gnabry also big numbers for him as he scored 23 across all competitions. Fortunately, Gomez suffered an injury, but he still netted 16. And Salah appeared to have come in and netted 10 goals for us due to the Gomez injury. For the assist category, Merkel coming through. Glad to see he's in the starting 11, and he's now up to an 84 overall rating. Yeah, I'm telling you, season 3, big things are about to happen. Gnabry popping up with 12 assists, and then clean sheets. It was Gnabry who had 24 out of 51 appearances. Once again, we'll have a side-by-side look between our season 2 and season 3 squads. I'm not feeling too confident that we'll make it to the end of the season. Our manager rating is pretty low, but I'll simulate as far as we can, and we should still be able to see our results at season's end, as long as I can get an offer from another club. Well, we've managed to win the Bundesliga in back-to-back seasons. I think that is an achievement in its own right. However, I am more concerned about the Champions League this year. We'll see how we did in that competition right after we look at the Pokal, which ended in us not reaching the final. Yeah, we were knocked out to the eventual winners, Dortmund. They beat us 2-1 in the quarters. They beat Schalke 3-0 in the final. Now for the big one, the Champions League. You have to give credit to Barcelona. They ended up advancing 2-1 on aggregate, beating us in the second leg 2-0, and then they went on to win the final over Atletico Madrid. Unfortunate that we couldn't win that competition, but considering we made semifinals and back-to-back years, I think that's pretty good for a club that didn't make any additional transfers. Once again, it was Werner who went off in season 3, netting 48 goals and 49 appearances. Gnabry with 25, Gomez with 21. For the assist category, Rudi, Merkel, and Kimmich were all in the double digits. And for clean sheets, we have Leno popping up with 28 clean sheets from 50 matches. I'll leave y'all with what the final form of this all-time Stuttgart squad would look like, but if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, but until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.